And we have the default from LG towards arcade. They're going for arcade control. And the dish shenanigans have kind of stopped at this point. And instead, Version1 are looking to make their move towards this B site. And they have a very slow timing. So, you know, they could come upon a late clearance of arcade. But we can see that this has been dominated by Luminosity. They had that early push there. They're set up.
So quick to make the execute call, knowing there's no pressure over through tree. Zelsis is going to run right into Dazzle and actually does get B Heaven control. That is so massive when it comes to V1 trying to set up a post plant, and then they overstack it with a double set to make sure Dazzle still falls. So the spike gets planted, we go 4v4.
This is pretty tough. Not really all that much util. There's no, you know, showstoppers left, no pain shells to kind of create some of this space. Actually, there's some pain shells sent to the back of the site. Effie's going to be able to defend, though. And there's just two left here. That's that pressure. There's the incendiary. That's going to slow things down. Penny with a very nice kill coming through from arcade. Now Mardo with it all to do against 3 players. The time ticking away. Oh dear, getting tagged down to 36. Smoke will dissipate, but Xander has the read.
Take that B tower position. So now another different look. A 3-2 setup here for Version1 as they're going to really try to suffocate this B site early.
I'm looking for the pinch there, and be going under so that you can have 2 angles as well. Well, there's also already beyond. Clearing these early positions. Oh, he's a headshot from a sheriff.
Yeah. This B tower control from the side of LG has to result in something. They're pushing through it, and Tig does find one elimination on the backside, but it'll only be the one. Moose continues to connect by way of Sheriff, but Whippy's barrier orb is now a huge problem. Resurrection has been earned once again, so why not use it? Over the top of the orb, B-Dog not quite able to lock down the initial kill. Maybe if he gets the first one and turns it into the second, there's a chance at a Thrifty, but Version1 too powerful in the round with the res. Good overhead view, sees that, yep, the fault line connects, but Dazzle throwing out a flash will tell V1 that there will be some defensive consideration, and even though there's a lot of members in this direction, they're really not committed to try to take this position, so it's an exchange of utility that is okay for the side of V1. The problem is, on the other side of the map, the long lurking play out of Penny is shut down once again by Moose, giving a 5v4 defensive advantage.
Yeah, and there's some cool stuff happening here. Vito tries to hold down this angle. We'll go into that in a moment as Effies will be powering through. And the thing is, though, is that LG have quite a few players here ready to defend this site. Normally, there's not quite as many. The Rolling Thunder is available. There's 2 players stuck on the site.
B-Dog. Oh, gosh, yeah. Spray it down, why don't you?
Certainly a good look for them, looking to force their opponents to eco if they win this round, and they can really make a go of this.
Aggressive push on both sides of the north side of the map from LG. That's tons of information, but Version1 are also very aware that, hey, if there's nobody through this position, let's just go ahead and make sure we get our way forward. If there's no forward defenders, we can get the orbital strike out, but it's the aftershock that gets credited for first blood, shutting down B-Dog's attempt to defend through the link, and that's a quick plant for Effies as LG now have to decide what in the heavens do we do here for a 4v5 retake.
I think that they need to. I think they really want to. They have to win this round. Again, it's worth essentially 2. Yeah. They have the orbital strike and they have the rocket as well, the showstopper. They're going to go for it there. And they're going to try to split these players up, feed them into the rocket. Good stuff. The paint shell's coming through with the right click. What is Mata able to get off the follow-up? Nothing. Absolutely nothing. They fully invested and they are coming up short here. Time is being burnt on the spike as well, and they still haven't gained enough ground. Moose spraying for dear life, but unable to find what he needs. And Fatigue, he's going to have to get a good timing. He's coming through, but it's not enough against Celsius. Oh, it was a good effort, though.
So now you're in a position, like you mentioned, kind of a must-win round for LG, putting them into a tough financial spot, relying a lot on this tour. Zelsis will actually fancy the P. It does force the rendezvous, but Zelsis actually gets more than just that information. He reads that there are a couple more members dealing with this play through the B arcade.
Ooh, and Moose was kind of baited into a deep angle because of all the pressure towards the B site, and that has really backfired. Tig, oh, that's an excellent kill to find. The wall actually might help Tig, lurking on this position, trying to find more value, trying to stay alive. Can't do it, though. Rolling Thunder comes through, and B-Dog strikes back. And actually, there might be a chance here. B-Dog, oh, he gets it point blank! And with that, there's not much left here for V1. 2 players, they have that set up in A main.
And they have to force the incendiary early. So they know that there's some time to be spent. The barrier orb will mean that LG have to cross right into the middle of this. But Mata, with the blast pack play, comes across, leaving Effies, and it's B-Dog to put it through what looked to be an unwinnable round, Dan. B-Dog says, hold on real quick. Let me just put this tour de force into action. Finds 3 kills with it, including an unbelievable up close and quarter, either quick scope or no scope in the chest of V1.
Onto V1, and they're pretty spread out here, looking like they're interested in that B split, but the arcade control, I mean, it's contested here. The wall goes up on reaction. That's been baited out. All the trademark goes down towards the defender side spawn outside of dish as well. The attacker side spawn, that is.
Well, this barrier orb is actually forcing LG to re-wrap back over into tunnels, to maybe even link up with the other 3 that are kind of waiting for a clearance towards tree. The good news here for version 1, this is fine in their book. They know they've got good clearance over arcade, so you can see both arrows are looking over towards a potential tree push. While you also still have V1 members that are completely concealed, they could be anywhere in A right now. LG have no idea.
Yeah, and the key thing as well is, you know, waiting out the wall might force. You know, then V1 can no longer rely on that wall.
Yeah.
So they have to be worried about the fact that they could all be out there, and they've completely switched the amount of players on which side of the map. But now everybody is towards the A main side of the map, and they're going to contact their way in. I think this is a really good call. Penny, what can he get off of this? One player, he's going to dodge the fault line. Penny could get massive value here. There's players all over the place, and there's the rendezvous. Is it going to be safe?
Yeah.
Looking like he's pretty safe.
He gets out. He actually links back up with the rest of the defense here, and all the meanwhile, outside of the fault line being thrown by Effie's, there's really not even a lot of information on how far forward is he playing over towards drop. So version 1 are going to have to largely set up this post-plant retake from mid, and then eventually you have to hope that Effie's can come back to B-Dog. Response to elimination of his zone flashes will allow version 1 to keep the trade alive, and here comes the take.
Yeah, it's not working out there from that push from Sanson. And the DPS is getting stolen.
Whoa!
My goodness, what is that from B-Dog? And Ace, I don't know what's going on. Shift, please explain.
Here's, okay, you want it? They lined up, he clicked, and killed them all. That is everything. I mean, this opening first pick is massive for B-Dog. He's able to rendezvous back in towards halls, and then, yeah, you point, you click, and apparently you just hit everybody. That is disgusting.
And I'm still... Okay, this is on you, man. I'm just... It's all you.
On me.
I don't know what to say, man.
Me neither.
I don't know what to say.
Unreal stuff. So LG will go 5 out of 6 for the pistols, by the way. And they've been flawless in following up those pistol rounds wins in these anti-ecos. So if they could find a way to continue that stat, they'll be right back in this game, no problem. And it's going to be a play largely right in towards B. It's just a, overall just a wide peek from B-Dog. He keeps the hot hand, almost a heat check there. And the rest of LG are stacked up in arcade. The only defender really to deal with this would be the one up top in the form of Xander.
Making their way through. Luminosity looking kind of good here with the trades. And that's you know, acceptable losses. Whippy though. Oh, might have a timing with the smoke. Got to connect the shots. There we go. Trade though.
And it's going to. So, I mean, you got a free sniper rifle in the mix. Barrier Orb quickly will deny any play through the initial areas of Dish, but as you had mentioned at the framing up this matchup, you have to feel like the orb is just going to be destroyed immediately as it gets put up, and that's indeed the case. So no real blanket of security for version 1 off of that.
When the creeper, the meeting of the minds for version 1 and LG. That said, LG are sort of course, just waiting for pushes around the map here, despite the fact that they are the ones with the worst weaponry. V1 actually pulling off of that A main push. So it feels like LG have a pretty good timing here towards this drop position. B-Dog might be able to possibly catch somebody. V1, they're moving around a lot right now, resetting their positions.
You just can't give away a first blood from a tour, I feel like, if you're looking at this from V1's point of view. Force them to have to commit to a site before you defensively try to hold this. And as Sky Smokes get dropped, here comes Luminosity from both sides of the A site. But V1 are fine with them having this ground. Wait for these to dissipate and then see maybe if there's an opportunity to deny this tour from finding any value as Dazzle's going to commit for the plant.
After Shocker will force away one player. And it's 4 to force again, as you mentioned. It's absolutely critical it will slow everybody down. That's going to be so backbreaking if he gets the connection. There we go. Now they're just trying to move through like snails. Oh, they're getting close. There it is. The quick right click, that quick scope, doing the damage, delivering the power here for B-Dog as he holds the position with the headhunter. Can't connect the shots, but he has Moose and Tiggs to fall back on him.
Oh, and the incendiary is primed up at the exact right moment. Whippy will try to heal through this, take the 1v1 and win it versus Moose. No more utility for Tig, and he's got a Spectre at extreme range. Headshot connects. Whippy forced to have to hold, and Effie's plays the appropriate bodyguard for just long enough. Version1 able to find the full retake to put him on 9. You have to feel like for Version1, you're relying on getting an opening read and then turning that into a position to maybe even just default to playing retake. Not the case, though. Rolling Thunder going to be used aggressively. Here comes Elsis through it. The slowing field, though, holds him in his tracks, and Dazzle collects the double.
And he with the tour de force now, trying to get his piece of the action, and the smokes here. This is going to be scary. Got to use it basically like a shotgun at this point as he makes his way close. Oh, gets one almost quick enough for the second. Xander doesn't like the look of this, but the judge will backpedal into spawn.
Wow. Right here. You know, I was on the same boat as you, I think, Dan. I think we're both thinking that Version1, maybe you just default to using this fault line as a retake tool, but they decide to continue to keep the tempo up, trying to play through A-halls, and maybe some of that is trying to get Xander into position to feel a little bit more comfortable with judge angles, but it really is just a really good holding setup. Dazzling with a benefit with the double, shutting down the entire attempt of V1's defense, and from there on out, it was just LG running forward. Not a lot you could do if you're V1.
Yeah. Xander will at least get himself the weapon he wants. Get that juicy RGX Vandal.
A little window shopping going on.
B-Dog, where he gets the ace on the classic, obviously extremely upsetting rounds, and that is, you know, something that is certainly given them an in.
That's
so good.
Trademark counters the Rolling Thunder. Think about that for just 1 second.
Here comes V1 on Dish.
This is a bait. It's all bait, Dan. They're just waiting to see if V1's going to try to do something cheeky with the full stack through Dish, maybe. See if they can catch off just an over-aggressive play from Version1.
Oh.
So they're not going to get what they ideally would have wanted, but the trademarks are still in position to allow them to continue to play from the north side of the map, and that seems to be the call. So
interestingly here, the Cypher camera able to kind of trigger the door there with the by shooting it. That is the thing is that that's an awesome fake, that sound. However, Penny heard them go in the camera, so they know that that's likely going to be a fake. The question is how they react off of it. And Luminosity are walking through the underpass now, looking to likely wrap up into arcade.
You've got the right people here, though, for Version1 to respond to this defensively. A barrier orb could be a huge hindrance if LG commit to B. And no, they're just going to re-wrap back, not even use the ropes to go back over towards A halls, right where that camera was positioned. So, like you mentioned, trying to bait the door, it does force Version1 to consider it, but this kind of gone quiet play style actually will allow LG to play off of this position through door.
V1 read it, but the pacing of LG was so slow that then V1 are like, okay, well, nothing's happened, so we have to go towards B. So that slow pace for Luminosity has got them that side control, but can they hold it? There's not a lot. There's no ults really here for V1 to work with in the retake, and that's a great start from Moose, and it gets even better.
It's absolutely perfect, flawless. In fact, you would say. No reason for Version1 to not try to go for this. Maybe outside of Xander, who's still holding on to this Vandal from the previous round. Moose and this post plant is responsible for door and this fall in towards dirt. Oh, Dazzle! My goodness, Whippy, what a shot that is. That makes things interesting all of a sudden. Version1, they are going to back Xander off, but the other two members can still try to make this punishing.
Yeah, try to make as many players go down the ship as possible. Doesn't look likely, indeed. So, LG, again, in a commanding position now. 4 players looking to survive. As you mentioned, Sander for V1 will keep his rifle in hands. And that was a really cool round because, you know, what did Luminosity show us? They showed us like a really slow pace.
And then all of a sudden they find themselves on the wrong side of the map. Although this time, okay, hold on a second. This little double play between the Rays and the Breach will allow 2 kills to go in favor of Zelsis. Huge numbers advantage here for Version1, leaving LG with a 3v5.
Yeah, that's certainly a huge issue now. They're going to just go and commit. I mean, they don't have much choice, honestly. Dazzle has the Rolling Thunder, and I'm sure they wanted to get a setup. going into that B site with that Rolling Thunder from drop, but obviously everyone's dead. So
Yeah.
have to postpone the plans. And I mean, that's likely what V1 were reading as well. You know that this ult is on the board. And what do you feel like? And again, they could have done the research as well. That may have also given them even more accurate reads as to what Luminosity do in these positions. And Dazzle, not long for this world, of course, will go down, and V1 10-8, and it feels like they're stabilizing now.
Absolutely, and I think it's just off the fact that they are starting to get some aggression set up. Again, this kind of talking over the previous point, this version 1 team on defense has done kind of the same things that we saw offensively from them, where they like to get a little bit more aggressive in some key locations, not just dish. We also see them very regularly try to take some arcade control